Welcome to Start Before You're Ready, the podcast that proves that you don't need to wait for the perfect moment to begin your journey towards better health and happiness. I'm your host, Kelly Young. Remember, the first step is often the hardest, but it's always worth taking. Hey guys, it's Kelly, and I'm back with another episode of Start Before You're Ready. And just as promised, I'm bringing Meg Phillips back to the podcast. Meg has actually been on already as a Winter Challenge team captain, but that is just one of the many roles that she has in the KBC community. And in addition to now being a team member and being in charge of our Retro, which is our 55 plus program, she is also our yoga instructor or a part of our yoga team. So I want to let Meg talk to you guys about some of the things that she's doing with KBC and also share a little bit of her personal journey. If anyone's tuning in for the first time and they don't know, Meg is what we call an OG. She has been with the Kelly's Bootcamp community since before we actually started. She actually worked out with me at Olympus and Lifetime. I used to make her go with me because she was my friend. And then I ripped her into KBC. But it's a great story. And I'm going to let Meg just share a little bit about how she got started. And I also want her to let you guys know, because I think this is important, that fitness has not always been a part of her life, even though those that know her now probably can't imagine that to be the truth. But I think it's important for everybody to know that she is not like a fitness freak from birth, like some of us.
Hi, everyone. I'm happy to be on here today. Thanks, Kelly. As Kelly mentioned, I got connected to Kelly and KBC in the very beginning. I met Kelly when our kids were babies, and I was trying to find a fitness routine. I had tried things over the years and had started and then stopped and never found that consistency that I wanted. I was not an athlete growing up. If you guys remember the Presidential Fitness Awards in elementary school, I would beg to stay home on the running days. Running was very challenging for me. And then growing up, I danced some, I cheered, but it was very different than the dancing and the cheering of today, where it's very, very athletic now. So I got connected with Kelly and started taking classes at Olympus. And what I found is that I liked the accountability that having friends taking the classes. I would text Kelly the day before, I'll see you in class. Or if I wasn't going to be there, I would text her and say, hey, Kelly, I'm not going to be there because of X, Y, and Z. And if Kelly didn't think it was a good enough reason, she'd call me out on it. So it was that extra layer of accountability. So fast forward a little bit, I was taking the classes through Olympus and was being consistent. And I'm sure you've heard Kelly talk about how boot camp was started and the Black Friday boot camp that she did as a fundraiser for her father. So then the following year for his birthday, they were doing a half marathon race on his birthday in his honor. And I said I would come and cheer everybody on. And Kelly said, no, you can't come. You can only come if you're going to run. And I said, oh, I'm not a runner. I can't run. And she said, get on a treadmill, run for a mile. I'm sure you can do it. If you can run a mile, then you can run 13. And I was for sure did not think I was going to be able to run a mile. And I hopped on the treadmill. And sure enough, 10 minutes, well, a little over 10 minutes probably, went by quickly. And I couldn't believe that I could actually run a whole mile. And that was just based on doing classes consistently with Kelly. So then Saturday boot camp started, and then the weekday classes started with KBC. And I just became a regular, probably pretty consistently working out, I would say at least 5 days a week.
Yeah.
And then Energy opened, and I had kind of started helping Kelly behind the scenes with things, whether it was filing when we had paperwork or helping with name tags or really whatever it was. And so as the schedule was expanding, now that there was a capability to offer more classes, I approached Kelly about joining the team.
And what'd I say?
I don't know what you said. Did you say finally or?
No, I was a little hesitant, only because I was a little hesitant, only because you're so nice. And I was worried that you'd be too nice and that it wouldn't have that edge. Like it wouldn't feel like people wouldn't feel like they needed to push themselves because you're so nice. And I couldn't have been more wrong. So I just want to go on record saying that I was nervous for you to teach. I knew you'd be great at it because you're very diligent and you're good at everything. And if you're going to do something, you put your mind to it and you always do it right. And you follow through on it, whatever you say you're going to do. So I wasn't concerned about that. I knew you were a great student. I knew you had great form. I knew you had what it took to be an amazing instructor. But I was nervous that you would be too nice. And and just to add to Meg a little bit about what she's sharing. So I think that having someone come from a background of I don't really like to work, like working out isn't my favorite thing. It's become my favorite thing, but I found things that I liked about it, like the social or obviously getting stronger and becoming more fit. Those are things that I value, but some people just don't love the act of exercise. And I would absolutely put Meg into that category 20 years ago. And I think she does enjoy it now. I think it makes her feel good and it energizes her. But I would say for a very long time, it didn't energize you. It probably made you feel not so great afterwards, right? You were tired after. I remember your face was really red and you were tired.
Right.
Because that's a normal response to exercise when you're not conditioned to it. But once you start doing it, it actually starts to feel good. Meg, I want you to share a little bit about how you think exercise has helped you or just becoming a stronger, more fit person. Now it's been 20 years. So as you've aged and done other things in your life that might require you to be a healthier version of yourself, how do you feel like being fit has served you?
I would say that it has given me a lot of confidence.
I agree.
I am always up for whatever, whether it is, going for a hike, going skiing, most recently going to Costa Rica and go surfing. I just have confidence in my body that I will be able to do a lot more than I would have given myself credit for prior to consistently working out.
Yeah. And that's one thing I'm really glad you mentioned that, Meg, because that's one thing that I think is really important to note. There's so many things we can do in life to put the reps in to get more confidence. But fitness, why I find that to be such a valuable way to get more confidence is it's so tangible, right? You can see it. I had for the longest time, I had note cards in my desk of my neighbors and I did a fitness assessment with them. We were doing like a little contest and I had note cards in my desk and Meg's was one of them and push-ups. I put 0 because she couldn't do a push up. But now if she wanted to, I mean, I was just taught her strength class last night and she was in it and she did probably the best push-ups in the room. So now she's a total rock star at push-ups, but it's so great when you can actually see yourself getting better. And it's like, you can't deny that you're better because you used to not be able to do a push-up and now you can do a bunch of them really well, right? It's so tangible.
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Whether it is measuring your reps for push-ups or for squats or how long it takes you to get around the block, running, jogging, speed walking, whatever.
Right.
Yes. It's always
You've
measurable.
done a lot. You've done Ragnar's, right? Didn't you weren't you like a stranger in a Ragnar?
Well, I did. I wasn't a stranger. It was people that, well, I guess you could say, yeah. I did a Ragnar with some of the ladies around here. And I think I was connected to them through Pine Brook. Leslie Moffat was one of them, but I didn't know them all really well.
Okay.
And then I went with Barton with his coworkers. That's the one that was in San Francisco. I got to run across the San Francisco, the Bay Bridge.
Yeah. Tell them what a Ragnar is, because I have a feeling not
Okay.
everyone knows what a Ragnar is.
Okay. So a Ragnar race is
Ragnar, sorry.
a 24-hour race, and there's usually a team of 12 people, and you divide into two different vans, two different vehicles. And it's basically a relay race where they take this span, which ours was from San Francisco to Napa. And so they break the mileage up among the 12 people. And I think we had three different legs. And so one van of people run their mileage, and then we get a little rest, and then the next van takes over and runs their mileage one at a time, one person at a time, and then we replace them and do. So it, you I for both of the races that I've done, one time I was running in the middle of the night through a cornfield. Another time I'm running across the San Francisco Bay Bridge in sunlight. You sleep in, sometimes it's a school that clears out their gym for you, or other times it's, you just sleep in your van and try to get comfortable.
Oh my
Anyway, it's a
gosh.
little bit of an adventure, but
Yeah.
it's fun, really fun.
Yeah, you've done a lot. I mean, you've done a lot. You've done multiple half marathons, you've done med runs, you've done a lot. So it has opened up some experiences for you that you might not have otherwise had. I know recently you mentioned, and even Barton mentioned, even her husband Barton mentioned how great she was at surfing, even though she didn't have really any surfing experience. And you mentioned that a lot of people that were there on this surf vacation were younger than you,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yes.
And you were able to do a lot. I think one of the things that's unique about you, and I think it speaks to our programs and our training, is that you're very comprehensive, right? You've got the endurance from doing classes that are 45 minutes to an hour long. I mean, that just helps you build endurance anytime you're doing something for that long. Diligent on working on your strength. And you also have always been incredibly mobile. You have great mobility and flexibility. But I don't know if your journey into becoming a yoga instructor was because you enjoyed it or you wanted to continue to work on it. I'd love to hear more about that, because we don't really know the yoga side of Meg that well.
Yeah. So I guess it was the end of 2022, and
Mm-hmm.
I was talking with our friend Gloria, and we were both just talking about being interested in yoga. Gloria had done yoga for years, just kind of on her own or taking classes, but I was pretty new to it, to be
Yeah.
honest. I hadn't done that many yoga classes, but I was just intrigued about it. Just as far as the benefits I had heard for your body and your mind.
Mm.
And I don't run as much as I used to, actually, not much at all, because I would have, feet issues or hip
Right.
issues, and so I just found that I thought yoga would be a good complement to the work
Mm.
that I'm already doing and that we're all doing at KBC.
Yeah.
And so Gloria and I both got certified in 2023. We went through the 200-hour yoga teacher training,
It's a huge
which was
commitment.
which was amazing. It took us from January through July to
Mm.
get through the material and the weekly calls. But I learned a ton
Yeah.
and have been teaching two classes at Energy,
Yeah.
a yoga kind of slow flow format.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I taught this morning, in fact,
Right.
and then a yin yoga format,
Okay.
which is much slower paced, more passive. Anyway, which is a great complement to what we do at KBC.
Yeah. And did you call it yen or yin?
I probably pronounced it wrong, but yin, yin,
Okay,
yin,
yin. I mean,
yin.
I always thought it was yin. Okay, good.
Yep,
Okay,
yin.
so yin yoga is something that we had at Energy when we first opened the studio we had an incredible instructor named Amber who brought yin yoga to me, at least. I had never experienced yin yoga, but she convinced me that it was what I needed and it was what my members needed. And I became a student of Amber's, much to my surprise, because I never considered myself someone that could do, and her class was 90 minutes long / 100 minutes long because she always went over. And I was very anxious in the beginning of it. When I would first do it, I just was like, I couldn't settle. And normally I think I'd probably give up and be like, this isn't for me. But for some reason I kept coming back, and because I noticed every time I did it, I got a little bit better. And I was really upset when Amber moved because I was like, oh my gosh, I love yin yoga. So when Meg and Gloria were going through their certification, I was like, oh my gosh, I hope you guys bring yin back to energy. And they did. And it has been very, very successful. For us, for yoga, we have done a great job consistently getting students into our Wednesday night yin yoga class. And I totally give Meg and Gloria all of the credit for that. I sometimes feel like a commercial for them in my other classes, because in my classes, I tend to attract people like myself that like the more intense workouts, and they're the exact people that need the yin. Meg, can you tell us some of the benefits of yin? You mentioned some earlier, but just what you learned as an instructor.
Sure. So as I kind of touched on, it is a much slower paced class. I tell people they can do it in their pajamas, wear something really comfortable.
Mm-hmm.
We use a lot of props, pillows, blankets, bolsters, and you, depending on what the position is, what the shape is, you kind of get into the shape and prop your pillows, etc., around you. Find your edge. We call it finding your edge, about your 70% where you feel some tension, some stress, but no pain. And then you just hold into that position anywhere from 2 to 5 minutes. And the beauty of that, I say the magic of that, is that it allows your body it allows that tension, that stress to get into your connective tissues, your fascia, and just loosen everything up. And at the same time that you're slowing your body down, you're also slowing your mind down. And I think that's a huge benefit that people don't really think about as much. But people are going all day long, and their mind is going and going, and they just don't take a break to just calm down and breathe very often. And so I think that is just as much of a benefit of the class as the physical body aspect of it.
Yeah. I think that is why I have fallen in love with it, because this is so not yin yoga. But as I like to say, I'm addicted to productivity. I like to be productive at all times. And I feel like in yin, well, first of all, going back to what Meg said about holding the stretches, like when you hear the instructor say, we're going to do this for 4 minutes, or we're going to do this for 5 minutes, you're like, oh, what? It sounds like horrible. But I can say with certainty now, I never want to get out of the pose. I get it. It takes a minute or two to find that spot, or to find just to really start breathing. I notice for me, the breathing more than anything. Like I'm someone that struggles with, if you say breathe, I'm like, oh, what? But when I get into that position, then I feel like I'm starting to understand the breathing part. And one of the benefits that Meg mentioned is that they use a lot of props. And I thought the props were stupid for some. We don't need all this stuff. Why do we need all these bolsters and pillows and blankets? And I didn't understand. But the beauty of the prompts is you're never floating. You're always connected to something. And there is something magical about that I didn't understand when you're really wanting to relax. You don't want to be float. You don't want like your hip in the air. You want to be connected to something. It's very therapeutic, to have all those props. So I think that, you guys really do an incredible job of teaching it. And, I look around during the class and I'm always impressed by some of the men that are in there. Mo takes it very regularly and I wouldn't consider him the most flexible, but he does really, really well with it. And I think it is because of the time that we spend some time in the position. So it's not, you have time to get comfortable. And, the other thing I noticed about Yin in particular is we will get high school students and we will get some of our older participants. So it really is a practice for everyone. I think that, you might have to modify some of the moves, and Meg and Gloria both do a really good job of saying, if this isn't for you, here's another position, or here's another option. So I encourage everyone to try not one class, because you most likely are not going to like it after one class. I give yourself 3 times. And after 3 times, if you don't see a difference between that first class and that third class and you say, meh, then okay. But really, really go into it with the mindset that it is not only beneficial for your body, but for your mind. And it will help. Like, I used to be the person that if I'd go anywhere, say it was a stretch session or something, they'd be like, oh, you're really not flexible. Now, even like if I go and do like soft tissue work and they do stretch, they're like, you're really flexible. I'm like, what? I've never, ever, I've heard just the opposite. So I know that it's a result of that. I do have good mobility. My range of motion is much bigger now, which is going to give me more time in the game, which is sorry, Meg, I feel like I kind of took over your yin yoga.
No.
I'm a fan.
Yes, I know you've been so consistent. So you should be seeing results. You've been so consistent.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep.
And then the one other benefit that I've heard from people, especially people who wear their sleep trackers, is that their sleep score is so much better on the nights that they do yin than other nights.
Yep.
So
I totally agree with that.
Another added benefit.
And I just want to touch on the consistency thing too. I'm going to tell you guys right now, I don't want to, like, it's Wednesday night at 7:15. Sometimes I'm hungry. Sometimes I'm tired. A lot of times I have a lot to do and I feel stressed and and I tell myself, it's 1 hour, Kelly. You need this. And I do it. And I don't give myself an option. The only times I've missed was I had an NCL meeting, 2 NCL meetings. That's the only time that I've ever been in town and not been at yin yoga, because it's that important to me. And if you really want to do something consistently, you've got to set some rules like that for yourself. Like if I'm in town, and that's what I used to, when I started my boot camp, if I'm in town and healthy, this is where I'm going to be. It becomes non-negotiable if that's something that is important to you. And I know for me, that was something that was important to me. Meg, what would you tell somebody that says, like, I don't like yoga?
I think examples of people who used to not like yoga is a great, I think sharing stories of people to say. And I also think people have a certain perception of what yoga is, and they maybe don't know about yin versus the flow. And so they might think it's a lot of downward dogs, which some classes are, but I think I would ask questions to find out what the concerns are, and then share examples of, oh yeah, so-and-so used to feel that way and now they love it because of XYZ. So I think your suggestion of people giving it a try and coming several times before they make a decision is a really good one. Because I do think, especially for yin, that it takes some getting used to. It's hard to slow your mind down.
It's hard to slow your mind down.
I think that's the hardest part. Like, one of the hardest part is not thinking about your to-do list, but then stopping. So I think that's what I would do, is ask some questions to try to figure out what their concerns are,
Yeah.
share examples of, maybe other people who felt the same way and then change their mind.
Yeah. I like that. And now, of course, it's warming up, but I do tell people when they're coming for the first time to dress warm because our studio isn't designed for yoga. It comes after a couple of classes. So it's hard to get the studio the right temperature. And especially if they're coming from the class before, they need to bring a change of clothes. Don't have like sweat on your body because you will get cold, even if it's warm outside. So I would tell them to dress warm and to be comfortable. Like you said, you don't need to be in workout clothes. You don't need to wear shoes. So you don't even you can wear slides or whatever, or something easy. I always look at Lynn's Crocs. She's got the cutest Crocs, like open back Crocs. But yeah, that's really good. And just in case you're listening to this and you're like, I don't know where there's yin yoga. Well, as a special gift for listening to this podcast, we will invite you to our virtual class on Wednesday night. It's at 7:15. And if there's any class that's easy to do from home, it's yoga because you don't need any equipment. You can use pillows. You can use blankets. It's nice to have a mat, but it's probably the easiest class to do from home. And we always, even if we don't have somebody doing it from home, I think Meg and Gloria usually record it. So we're always on there anyway. And they do go into the library. So if you're listening to this and you are a member, I encourage you to go into our library and maybe break it up for yourself a little bit. Maybe break up a couple of the classes and just do a piece of it if you're not sure. Sometimes like kind of 60 minutes is a lot, but 20 minutes is doable. I will say that both Meg and Gloria do a really good job of having a theme of sometimes it's spine, sometimes it's hip, sometimes it's breathing. And so doing the whole class is beneficial because sometimes they're doing one thing because you're about to do another thing. I feel that in the program, but that could still work. You could totally do that. Let's shift gears a little bit and talk about the other program that Meg runs. She really is a jack of all trades, and that is our Retroactive Program. So when Energy came to be, we were fortunate enough to have Jody ask if we could do a 55 plus program for the KBC community and some of the parents of our members. And I was a little hesitant. I'm not going to lie. I was a little hesitant because that's not the population that I had worked with in the past. And I didn't have a lot of experience with that population. But I knew that Jody was prepared to get the credentials necessary to do that. And she and Meg actually started the program together. That's how Meg got her start in teaching. And I know you've done a lot of training specifically in active aging, and you actually have a specific certification in active aging. And I know that you get so much joy out of working with that community. I'd love for you to share a little bit about it, Meg.
Sure. Okay, so as Kelly mentioned, the program started in 2018, and really the first set of the members were parents of our boot campers.
Of course.
Several of them still are working out with us now. And one of the greatest things, I mean, there's so many benefits to it, but I love seeing the work that we're doing in Energy help improve their lives outside of Energy. So, one of our members, his mobility and gait wasn't great when he first came. And now he's rowing and hiking with his family. They specifically joined in preparation for a trip that he was going on so that he'd be able to,
Yeah.
And then one of our newer members was talking about how she has struggled with her balance and that she can already see an improvement. She went on a boat recently with her sons and said she could feel an improvement in her balance. And then one of our other members was just telling me recently that one of her friends asked for help moving. And she said, I just felt so much stronger being able to
Aw.
help her move. So,
Yeah.
so much of what we do translates into just everyday life.
Mm-hmm.
So, they might not be running marathons but they are highly functioning
Yeah.
outside of energy,
Yeah.
just enjoying life.
I would say two things that I notice the most in the students that have been in the program for a consistent or a significant amount of time is posture and gait. I think that's a good way to put it. Just like how they move. It's confidence. They're stronger, their core stronger, and they just move different. They really, really do. They really, really do. And I'm always impressed when I'm in the studio. It's the one I love being in the studio when retro's going on. It's not as loud. That's one thing. It's easier to be in the studio because it's not as loud. But their form is really
Yeah,
good.
it's
Their
really good.
form is really good. Oh, I should share. I taught my first retro class. I had never taught retro. I was a little bit felt like I wasn't really qualified to teach it. Of course, I've been a fitness professional for a long time, and I know our students. So it was, and I was very prepared to teach it when I subbed for Meg. But I was really, really surprised with what they could do. There was nothing. I mean, I was really, really surprised. I was like, okay, this is really just like teaching a regular class with
Yeah.
moving a little bit slower,
Yes.
using safety as the first priority
Right.
and music a little lower. I'm like, otherwise there's no difference here.
So
So
true.
that was
Yeah.
helpful for me.
I brag about our students all the time because they really do have great form.
Yeah.
They're strong. Their balance is really good. So just the other day, I was teaching a balance move with them. We were doing a balance move and I was wobbling and they were nailing it. And I was like, you guys, your balance has
Yeah.
gotten so
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
So
And
good.
I don't want to misquote the statistic, and maybe you know it, Meg, but there is a horrific statistic out there about falling after the age of 60. And it is the demise of people.
Mm-hmm.
It's actually super surprising, but they might fall. But first of all, they're going to be stronger. And second of all, they're going to fall better
Mm-hmm.
because of their fitness.
Right. Yeah. I talk about how we move in every direction in class, and I said
Yeah.
because you never know when you're going to try to catch yourself in
Right.
certain angles, and
Right.
so we train for that. We really
Yeah, I know
do.
you do. I know. I
Yeah.
see a lot of the other thing that I know you consciously are training for, and I think we're all doing this in our classes, is brain health. Can you
Yeah.
talk a little bit about some of the
Sure.
exercises that you do?
Yep. Yep. I had done some games where we walk around and like we will. It's almost like when you were little and it was. I'm going camping and I'm taking an apple and
Mm-hmm.
I'm taking an apple and a banana and
Right.
everybody has to remember. So we'll do
Yeah.
some things like that are cumulative. But then also just kind of some choreographed movements in our
Mm-hmm.
warm up where
Mm-hmm.
we'll add and then repeat. And so my cueing initially is I say it a lot more as we're moving through it, but then
Yep.
stop
And they have
and
to
they
remember.
right. And then we'll repeat it on the opposite side. So it's also
Mm-hmm.
using that brain to
Mm-hmm.
translate what we just did to the other side of your body.
Yeah. Yeah. It's funny you said that, Meg. This was a little bit off topic, but I want to mention it here. I was just listening to a podcast yesterday about the fitness industry and trends, group fitness in particular. And one of the points that he was making is that moving to the music and choreographed fitness is out. And I don't like trends and I don't like when things are in and out because that just doesn't make sense to me. Because as much as I believe strength training should be in, I'm in full agreement with the fact that strength training should be in. There is so much more value to moving to the music and following patterns than just like that's a fun way to exercise. And I personally have seen it be a benefit for not for myself and for my students. If you are exercising, if you have an elevated heart rate and you are following direction at the same time, whether it be right arm, left arm, whatever it is, It is the number one way to improve your brain health or to be at less risk for some of the concerns that we have around our brain. So don't tell me it's out.
Yeah.
I will continue in every single one of my classes to do there's circuits where it's like, okay, you go off and you do this, this, and this. And I love that too. But it needs to be in because it's very important. And I know maybe sometimes in my classes, people might get a little like, why do we have to? But when they get it, it's so good for them. It's so good for them because, and they all get it eventually. It's amazing. Like everyone, you start with that awkwardness of like, oh, this is really awkward. Like, this isn't how I do things or whatever, but then they get it. And I think that it really is another thing that we do really well. We aren't just thinking like, hey, we want to make your muscles stronger. Hey, we want to make your stomach flatter. We are thinking way beyond that. And brain health is definitely part of our programming.
Yeah. And then one of the other benefits of retro too is it's just a time for connection.
Yes.
And, we not only do I let them get a little chatting time in class, but we also do things outside of energy too. We've gone to tea once a year.
I've been to tea.
Yes, holiday gathering.
Scones, peaches scones. Oh my gosh.
Scones are so good. Yes. We'll go to lunch pop-ups here and there. So it's a nice time to connect and socialize as well. And I've loved seeing the friendships evolve over the years too. I've really loved that.
That's so awesome, Meg. Yeah, that's community and that's so important. And what's nice is not all, but some of them have one thing in common that their kids work out at KBC. So
Right.
they have that in common. And I'd also like to add, and I think this is great, we've gotten some much younger people in our retro program,
Right.
especially recently. There are more people in their 50s. It's a great time for them. They like the time. They like the pace. They like the safeness. They like the being with the same group of people. Each time it's a little bit different than our other programming. So yeah, that's so good. All right. Is there anything else you want to say about retro? I could talk about retro the whole.
No, just that if they're listening, you guys are amazing. I'm so proud of you.
Oh,
if they check it out.
That is true. She loves her retro crew. I know she does. And I do too. In fact, the back of my van has a picture of the retro crew. So every time I go to get Dynamax balls or steps or go pick up the mail from my house, because the van's in my driveway, I say hi to the retro crew. Okay, so let's talk about you as an instructor a little bit, Meg, because you are an incredible instructor. I'm just going to say that flat out. You put so much effort into planning your classes. I get such great feedback from our students about how much they enjoy your classes. You do such a good job of making the at-home people, our virtual people, our Zoomers feel welcome. You're really good about sending out notes when, if it's their 5th visit or 10th visit with you. And your classes are really well balanced. I'm gonna toot my own horn. I think you taking so many of my classes over the years has kind of pushed you in that. When I look at your programming, and all of our instructors do their own programming. We don't say, hey, you need to do this move and this. They program their own classes, and I'm a firm believer in that being the best way to have amazing instructors. But I look at your programming and it's just very well thought out. You're very, very good at teaching, and people come back to your classes too. So we have a program that runs all of our, comebacks and shows all the percentages, and like Meg has just popped right up to the top because people really, they feel seen, they feel comfortable, they feel successful, all the things that we want our students to do. Meg just does a really good job with that. And I'd love for you to share, Meg, when you're thinking about your class, like, what do you think about when you're planning out your class?
Well, at first I would like to say I learned from the best. You were absolutely right. I took your classes for so long. And actually, I love taking everyone's
KBC class. That's the other thing
classes.
about you, is you're a constant student.
I love taking their classes, and there's always like a new move or something, even a cueing where I'm like, "Ooh, that was a great." So I like to pick up things from. I am a constant learner. So when I'm planning class, it really just depends on what the class format is. If it's a strength class, I want to make sure that we hit all the different muscle groups. If it is a cardio class, I will try to make sure that we're using different equipment, and that if
Yeah.
one of our cardio moves is a little more high impact, then if we're rotating stations, then the next one's something that's lower impact, and maybe the grip of something is a little different. So I try to think through. I'm not always 100% successful. My class this morning might be like, we did a lot of jumpy jacks this morning, but
Would you, I mean, you would never, there's always be an option. No one's
oh, for
ever,
sure. Oh,
none
yeah.
of our classes, you're never required. You can do knee lifts, you can do tap outs.
Absolutely.
So
And I
there's
do feel
never,
like, yeah, I
yeah,
do feel like that's something that I'm pretty good about,
you're
is
great at.
remembering to say, hey, here's your low impact option, or if this bothers your knees, do this. So I do try to make other suggestions. And that is actually one of the things with my classes, is I try to make everyone feel welcome. I mean, that was actually even before I was part of the KBC
Yeah.
team. When new people would come to the lot, it was when we were outside, I would be like, hi, I'm Meg. Are you new?
Yeah.
So that's one of the things that I want. I want people coming to my class to feel welcome
Mm-hmm.
and encouraged and successful.
Yeah. Successful.
It's
That's
important
so
to me.
huge.
Yeah.
It's so huge. Hardest part is getting there. You
Yeah.
walked in the door and you just won. You just won this workout because you're
Yeah.
here,
Yeah.
right? Hardest part is getting there.
And you know what? One of the most beautiful things is that our community, everyone is like that. Like,
Yeah.
if there's someone new and I'm trying to teach to the Zoom and also pay attention in the class, if there's someone new, I'll look over and see, whoever their partner is, or someone else I know,
Yeah.
showing them, or, talking, or encouraging them. So that's one thing about this community too, is that everyone lifts each other up.
Yeah. I agree. What's your favorite thing about being a fitness professional?
Oh gosh. I think celebrating other people's successes. I
Yeah.
think seeing people do something they didn't think that they could do.
Yeah. Yeah. That's really good. What is one thing that you would tell somebody that is not consistent with exercise right now, but would like to be on a better path?
I would say find a buddy. I would say
Mm.
find some
Okay.
way to create accountability.
Yeah.
And you know what? And it doesn't even have to be a buddy. Like
Mm-hmm.
for me, it was like the buddy system, right? Like
Yeah.
having friends and making it social. But maybe someone wants to buy a new pair of leggings, or, like, say if I work out X amount of time, or if
Yeah.
I, build some sort of accountability around what's important to them.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think
That's
that's what I
good.
would say. And baby steps. Don't try to do too much too soon.
Yes. Start with one thing, nail
Mhm.
it, and then on. That's really good. Yeah. I totally agree. Last question. One of the differences between Meg and I is all I do is think about food and eat. And Meg does not sometimes eat. So she'll go along, she'll get busy in her day and she'll be like, oh my God, I forgot to eat. But her habits have gotten much better. And I'd love for you to share, Meg, some of the tips and tricks that you have discovered that you think might help other people.
Somebody told me once that you need to eat like it's your job. And
Oh,
to
that
be
person sounds really
successful.
smart.
Yes, yes. And I do think there's truth to that, but it can be a part-time job.
Yeah.
So just making sure you have a plan, or accessible in your fridge, things that you can quickly assemble. So
Hmm.
whether it's a smoothie, or whether it's having pre-cut veggies, or hard-boiled eggs,
Yeah. Good.
taking when we were just talking about this the other day, Kelly, is when you're packing up your leftovers after dinner, like putting them into
Hmm.
containers, maybe put them in a couple little different containers. So then all of a sudden you have
Yep.
lunch for the next day
Yep.
already measured out. So I think, yep,
That's
part-time
good.
job, trying to
So
think ahead. Yeah.
you travel a lot. Um, so do you have any rules when traveling? Like when you're going to be on the road, do you try to do anything or you just wing it?
I do. You know what?
Okay.
I've gotten better about it. I really
Okay.
have. First of all, I pack all my supplements and my protein and all those things. I take them with me,
Excellent.
and I have gotten much better about packing snacks for the car ride, packing
Yeah.
something healthy, whether it's
Right.
like a pre-made salad or hard-boiled eggs or whatever it is, just having healthier food in the car.
Yeah.
And then when we're away, depending on where we are and what we're doing,
Yeah.
um, just trying to have things in the fridge for
Yeah.
breakfast and lunch, and then maybe treat ourselves for dinner.
Of course. Yeah. Yeah.
And then
Of
and,
course.
and then I make
Yeah.
just better choices when we go out to eat too.
Yeah. Yeah. I like to say that like when we're hitting the road, even if it's just for a day trip or something fresh. I'm like, I got to bring
Hmm.
something fresh because that's the one thing I might not be able to get on the road. I can get hard-boiled eggs at a gas station or I can, but like, let me bring an apple. Let me bring a bag of
Hmm.
veggies just in case. Right.
Right,
So,
right,
so, so it doesn't have to be all your food, just kind of to supplement whatever you might be grabbing on the go.
right.
That's really good. All right,
Yeah.
Meg. Well, one more opportunity to say anything you want to our podcast community. I think anyone that's made it this far deserves a little Meg.
Sure. Okay. I would say, especially, well, first of all, if you are part of our community already, I adore you. I love seeing you in class. I'm so grateful for all of you. And then if you are not part of our community yet, please try us out. You can come in person if you're local in Northern Virginia, or so many of our classes are available on Zoom.
Mm-hmm.
So try it out.
Yeah. What classes do you teach that are available on Zoom, Meg? What's your virtual schedule?
So on Mondays, I teach a circuit, which is a mix of cardio and strength.
Yeah.
Tuesday mornings,
8:30. She teaches that at
8:30, yep,
8:30.
8:30 a.m. circuit mix. And then Tuesday morning at 6 a.m. is a cardio express, so 45
Mm-hmm.
minutes, just a variety of different cardio and moves. We keep your heart rate up. Then 6:45 to 7:30, 45 minutes of yoga. We didn't really talk much about the slow flow yoga, but
Uh-huh.
it is a little bit in vinyasa, it's about vinyasa eve. We do some
Okay.
downward dog. Anyway, great class. Um,
6:45 on Tuesday, 45-minute
6:45 on
virtual
Tuesday.
class.
Yep. And then Wednesday night at 5 is a strength class, 1 hour. We have all the muscle groups. And then at 7:15 is 1 hour yin yoga,
Yep. PM.
PM. And then Friday morning at 5:15 a.m. is strength and conditioning express. So
Yep.
45 minutes.
Yep.
And yep.
Yeah, yeah. And that's actually, I'm surprised by the number of people that Zoom 515.
Yeah, there's a
That's
lot.
one of our biggest that's one of our biggest virtual offerings because, first of all, our school teachers, a lot of them can't come into the studio. So a lot of them are local and they're still Zooming.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just a good time for people that need to get their workout in early. Meg, it has been an absolute pleasure to talk with you. And I always enjoy time spent with you. And I just want to take a minute to thank you for all that you do for our community, not only in teaching your classes and bringing an amazing yoga program to KBC and leading our retro program and keeping them all connected. You are a huge asset to the team. You're always helping everybody out, subbing classes when you can. And you've helped me for the past 17 years behind the scenes. Anything I needed, you're there for me. And you're a big reason why I've been able to expand our offerings and stay lit up and not want to bang my head against the wall. It's nice to have a Meg in your corner where you can call her and say, Meg, I need help. I can't do this right now. And she'll be right over. And that's been pretty constant. There's been a lot of those, I guess is what I'm trying to say. That's not like a one-time thing, but she's a great friend. She's a great person. She's a great human being. Her heart is so big. She really is. She has that servant mentality where when she helps other people, it brings her a lot of joy. And I think that's a great great trait to have in anything, but especially when you're in a service industry like we are. I mean, we are serving people. We are serving people fitness. We're serving them nutrition. We're serving them a healthier life. And I can't think of another person that would be as heart-centered as Meg. So thank you, Meg, for all that you do in this community and for being such a bright light for all of us.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here, and I've learned from the best, Kelly.
Of course. Thank you, Meg.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Start Before You're Ready. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe, leave a review, and share with a friend who might need a little motivation. Ready to start your own journey? Check out our workouts and nutrition coaching programs at kellysbootcamp.net. You can choose from in-person sessions or virtual programs. Set up a complimentary coaching session to get started. Follow along with me and the show on social media at Kellys_bootcamp. Until next time, this is Kelly Young reminding you that the best time to start is always now.